Hello, my name is Jimmy Rustamano, and I'm the Program Manager here at HSS Sports Safety. We appreciate your commitment to keeping young athletes healthy, and we appreciate you joining us for this workshop today. There's a lot of pressure on coaches to keep their athletes safe, but unfortunately it's hard for coaches to find training to do so. That's what we're here for today. Our goals for today's workshop are to teach you to identify and correct movement issues in your athletes by using a 3-point inspection during a neurodynamic warm-up. Not only do we want you to know how your athletes should move, but we also want you to know how to correct their movement. We're going to begin our workshop with 3 modules that teach the fundamentals of movement. These modules include posture, core control, and lower extremity alignment. And they make up the 3 points of our 3-point inspection. Once you have mastered the 3-point inspection, you will be ready to apply what you have learned to more complex movements. These movements include jumping, landing, decelerating, and changing direction. So let's get started. More than 45 million children participate in team and individual sports in the United States each year. One thing that these young athletes have in common is that they depend on their coaches for guidance, instruction, and encouragement. One thing that their coaches have in common is that their success depends on the performance of their athletes. But there is just no way for an athlete to perform well if they are sidelined with an injury. Unfortunately, several 100,000 ACL injuries occur each year in the United States at a cost of over $6 billion. And the number of surgeries has increased by over 200% in the last decade, and that number continues to climb. ACL stands for anterior cruciate ligament. Anterior means towards the front, and cruciate means crossed. The ACL is located at the front of the knee and crosses to provide stability. A ligament is a type of tissue that connects one bone to another. In this case, the ACL connects the tibia, or shin bone, to the femur, or thigh bone. When 2 long bones, like the tibia and femur, are not connected by a healthy ACL, the knee becomes very unstable. This makes it hard to walk and even harder to run or jump. I was playing high school football when I tore my ACL, and I learned very quickly how much stability is lost when the ligament is damaged. One minute, I was playing with my friends, and the next, I couldn't even walk off the field without their help. Sadly, my season was over before it even started. Like so many other high school athletes, I spent my entire off-season training, but spent the entire season sitting on the sidelines. Athletes are at risk of ACL injury when their knee rotates inward when running, cutting, jumping, or landing. This inward rotation of the knee is called valgus, and it places a lot of stress on the ACL. Athletes can also tear their ACL when their knee hyperextends during a landing or direction change. We often hear about professional athletes who return to sport quickly and maintain an elite level of performance despite suffering an ACL tear. This isn't a surprise because they have countless resources to help them recover. But when a young athlete gets hurt, they have far fewer resources. Even worse, more than 1/3 of these athletes will suffer another ACL injury. I played the year after my surgery, but lost a lot of speed and strength. Like me, almost 2/3 of athletes who suffer an ACL injury don't return to the same level of performance within 1 year. Within 10 years of an ACL injury, many athletes will develop osteoarthritis. This is a painful condition that contributes to decreased physical activity and an increased risk of obesity. People who have ACL injuries are 7 times more likely to have knee replacement surgery later in life. While outcomes have improved, the best strategy is to avoid this injury altogether. We do not have to accept these statistics. There are many things we can do to reduce the risk of injury for young athletes. Coaches can help eliminate the nearly 70% of ACL injuries that are non-contact in nature. These are the injuries that occur as a result of poor movement quality. An athlete's ability to control their body when running, cutting, jumping, or landing is important, but often overlooked. As a coach, you can reduce your athlete's risk of injury by improving their motor skills. Neuromuscular training has been proven to reduce an athlete's risk of injury and improve their sports performance. We have created a 10 to 15 minute warm-up based on these principles. For maximum effectiveness, use this before every practice and every game. We call this a neurodynamic warm-up. Our free course trains you to run this warm-up with your team right away. Correcting your athlete's movement quality is not easy, but we know if anyone can do it, it's coaches like you. Your athletes depend on you for leadership, guidance, and encouragement every day. they also depend on you to keep them safe and healthy. That's why this program is so valuable. Posture is the first point of our three-point inspection. It's a concept that most coaches and athletes are familiar with. Being on our cell phones or sitting behind a desk all day can take a toll on our posture. For every inch the head moves forward from a neutral position, an additional 10 pounds of force are put on the spine. Here on the sports safety team, we worry about the development of young athletes in this environment. Great athletes have great posture, and if you want your athletes to have great posture, let's head over to the court for a demonstration. I'm here with Kenaya and Charlize, and they're going to help me teach you to identify and correct poor posture. So I'm going to start by having them stand back to back with one another. Excellent, and you can notice that their heads are not touching. So in order to correct that, I'm going to give you a few cues. Let's start by having them pull their chest up, bring their shoulders back, stand up nice and tall by pulling their head up to the ceiling. Very good. We want their heels to be touching one another, their butts, shoulders, and heads back. Excellent, girls. Now, let's have them step away from one another. And I want to see them do the same thing in an athletic position. Good. Notice that they can maintain that same exact posture. Very good, girls. Additionally, we have their shoulder and their ear still in alignment. So whether your athletes are warming up, practicing, or going to get water, if you notice poor posture, you should use these cues to help fix it. Core control is the second point of our three-point inspection. Here we will teach athletes to stabilize the middle of their body. Core control is critical to athletic success, but unfortunately very few coaches know how to teach core control to their athletes. Having a stable core will help an athlete maintain a neutral pelvic position without any unnecessary movement. Efficient movement will keep your athletes safe and performing at a high level. Anterior pelvic tilt happens when an athlete's pelvis is tilted too far forward. This increases the natural curve of the lower back. Conversely, posterior pelvic tilt occurs when an athlete's pelvis is tilted too far backward. This flattens the natural curve of the lower back. Spending any amount of time in either of these positions can cause pain and an increased risk of injury. Reinforcing core control is important to the long-term health and success of your athletes. If you want to teach your athletes about core control, let's go back to the court for another demonstration. Now I'm here with Christopher and Daniel, and they're going to help me demonstrate core control. So you can already see that they have great posture. Chest is up, shoulders are down and back, eyes are facing forward. Great job, guys. Now I'm going to have them turn facing outward. Excellent. And I want them to keep great posture while they get into an athletic position. So let's get into an athletic position, guys. Very good. Okay, now I want them to rotate their hips forward and back. Good. We call these two extremes anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. Guys, I want you to find a position that's comfortable somewhere in between these two positions, and I want you to freeze right there. Very good. This is great core control. So as I try to push them, they're not going anywhere. Excellent. Guys, you can stand up and relax for a second, face forward. Coaches, this is actually something you can work on your own to get a feel for exactly what I'm talking about. Here are some cues that you can use when your athlete's pelvis is tilted too far forward. So I'm going to have you turn over to the side. You can have them pull their ribs down, you can have them pull their belly button to their spine, or you could have them tighten their butt. And here are some cues that you can use for an athlete whose pelvis is tilted too far backward. Good, so I'm going to have you get into that posterior pelvic tilt. Excellent. You can have them pull their ribs up or arch their back. Very good. Now, I want them both to brace their midsection and not let me push them in either direction. And you can see what great control they have of their core. Now I'm going to have these guys face forward and get into an athletic position. Then I want them to lift their right leg up in the air, and let's see what happens to their core control. Excellent job, guys, really stable. An athlete that can maintain this position can reduce their risk of injury. Awesome job, you guys can relax. Similarly, a plank is a great exercise to demonstrate core control. So why don't we get down on the ground on elbows and toes. Very good. And we want to keep that core just as stable with that same neutral spine position. Excellent job, guys. There will be plenty of opportunities throughout your practices and games to coach your athletes' core control. So use this second point of the three-point inspection to do that. Lower extremity alignment is the third point in our three-point inspection. Having proper alignment of the hip, knee, and ankle is critical in sport. It helps athletes move safely and efficiently. This alignment minimizes harmful forces on the joints, reduces the risk of injury, and provides a foundation for balance, speed, agility, and power. The knee is a hinge joint, and it is not intended to be twisted out of alignment. This twisting stresses the knee structures, especially the ACL, and can result in injury. Many ACL injuries occur when an athlete cuts or lands with poor alignment. This next demonstration will help you learn to teach your athletes about proper alignment. Now I'm here with Xavion, and we're going to demonstrate lower extremity alignment. So you can see as he's standing right here, he's already got great alignment of his ankle, knee, and hip. All three of those joints are right over this black line on the floor. Now if he gets into an athletic position, push his hips back, he's still got that same alignment, 1, 2, and 3, ankle, knee, and hip. He's got great core control and excellent posture. So he checks all three boxes on our 3 points of inspection. Because sport requires movement, let's take this third point of the inspection and apply it to a movement, the lunge. So we'll start with that left leg over that black line. And then we're gonna have him step back with his right leg. And we wanna see, can he maintain alignment with that left ankle, knee, and hip right over that black line? Let's give it a try. Excellent job. Very good, and stand up. We're gonna do 3 more of those. All right, so keep going, Xavion, as I talk. Very good, and you'll notice that his knee and toes are facing forward. Stand up for me. Let's give it another try. Can he keep his kneecap right over his pinky toe? And he's doing a great job of that. And finally, is he gonna keep that ankle, knee, and hip over this black line as he does it the third time? Very good, his toes and knee are both facing forward. Now, if an athlete's knee rotates in like this, we call this a valgus position. Conversely, if the knee rotates out like this, we call it varus. In both cases, there are several cues that we want to use to correct that alignment so that the hip, knee, and the ankle can all get back over this black line. You can have your athletes keep their ankle, knee, and hip all over an imaginary line. So if this line wasn't here, they would still know to keep them in alignment. You can have them keep their kneecap over their pinky toe. And finally, you can have them keep their toes and knees facing forward, directly in front of them. There will be many opportunities to cue your athletes on lower extremity alignment. Be sure to use this third point of the 3-point inspection throughout your warm-up, practices, or games. Congratulations, you've made it through our first 3 modules. You have a great understanding of the fundamentals of movement. You're almost ready to use our 3-point inspection when implementing your neurodynamic warm-up with your team. Using what you have learned so far with your team will have a major impact on their health and performance. Your athletes depend on you to teach them everything, from their warm-up to the different skills they use on the field. In the final 2 modules, we will teach you more complex movements, from jumping and landing to changing direction and decelerating. Now that you've mastered the 3-point inspection, let's apply this knowledge to more complex movement. Unfortunately, most young athletes have never been taught to jump or land correctly. To promote safety on your team, it's important that you teach your athletes the right way to perform these movements. Because a lot of force is generated when an athlete lands, they should learn how to land before they learn how to jump. The position of an athlete's body when absorbing this force will determine the pressure exerted on a structure like the ACL. An athlete who lands with rigid knees does not properly absorb landing forces and transfers pressure to the spine and lower body. Now I'm here with Natasha, Pedro, and Tyrus, and they're going to help me demonstrate how to use the 3-point inspection to assess your athlete's ability to jump and land. It's important to learn how to land before your athletes learn how to jump. In order to do that, we're going to use a drill called the standing landing. So I'm going to have my athletes stand with their feet about shoulder width apart. Then I'm going to have them lift their feet just a few inches in the air and catch themselves in a safe landing position with their butt back, their chest up, and their eyes forward. We want to make sure that they check all 3 boxes in the 3-point inspection as they do this. So why don't we get about 5 of those standing landings at your own pace. All right, ready, go. Good, get 4 more at your own pace. Excellent. And watch their core control, look at the alignment in their lower extremity, and they've all got great posture. All right, guys, give me 1 more and I want you to hold it in that bottom position. Ready, go. Excellent. Now, you'll notice that they landed with their butts back, their chest up, and their eyes forward. They also have great alignment of their lower extremity, the ankle, knee, and hip. They also all did something very important, which is they softly absorbed the landing by pushing their hips backwards. The vertical jump is a great drill to practice jumping. We're gonna have our athletes swing their arms up, take off from the ground. We wanna maintain alignment of the lower extremity, so hips, knees, and ankles. We wanna keep great posture and core control as they make their way up, and they're gonna show you a perfect landing when they hit the ground as well. Let's do a few of those vertical jumps for us now. Ready, go. Notice our athletes driving their hips forward. Ready, go. To create momentum as they jump up. Good, let's get two more here. When teaching your athletes to land correctly, you should have them do it quietly to reduce the landing forces and reduce their risk of injury. As we mentioned before, most athletes have never learned to jump and land properly. Unfortunately, the same holds true for agility activities like change of direction and deceleration. This module will teach you to use the three-point inspection to correct your athletes during agility activities. We'll begin this module with deceleration. Athletes should learn how to decelerate before they learn to run or change direction. In most ground-based sports, athletes don't have special equipment to help them decelerate. For example, basketball, football, and soccer players are often forced to make quick stops to escape a defender. Like landing, decelerating can put a lot of force on the sensitive structures of the human body. And the body's position can have a huge impact on where these forces are absorbed. To decelerate properly, athletes should slow themselves down in 3 steps while lowering their center of gravity, widening their base of support, and driving their hips back. It should go without saying that an athlete's hips, knees, and ankles should be aligned while they maintain core control and great posture throughout the deceleration process. Check out how we teach our athletes to decelerate and change direction. Now we have Natasha, Tyrell, and Jason. They're going to help us demonstrate how to use the three-point inspection to assess your athlete's ability to perform agility activities such as deceleration and change of direction. I'm going to start with deceleration, and I'll have our athletes run out from that blue line to this black line and slow themselves down to a complete stop in about 3 steps. All right, ready, set, go. Very good. Now let's see as they maintain great posture, core control, and lower extremity stability with their hip, knee, and ankle all in great alignment. Very good. Let's take it back to that blue line. We'll get one more rep. Very good. And coming back. Ready, set, go. Very good. Excellent alignment. Very good, everyone. It's important that your athletes use the muscles in the back of their body to help them slow down. Many of the exercises in our neurodynamic warm-up will require your athletes to change direction. We'll have our athletes demonstrate how to do that properly right now. As a coach, it's important to position yourself right here on the line where they're changing direction so you can check the 3 points on the three-point inspection. All right, I'll have my athletes take off, and we want to watch them slow down with 3 steps, but they're going to begin to turn themselves before they come to a complete stop. Ready, set, go. Excellent. Notice they've got great posture, great core control, and they've maintained alignment throughout their lower extremity. Very good. Let's take it right on back. Now we're going to do one more time. We're going to do that at full speed. You guys are doing a great job. Ready, set, go. Excellent job. Very good. All 3 of them check all 3 boxes on that 3-point inspection. Awesome job, everyone. Continue to use the 3-point inspection during agility activities to keep your athletes safe and healthy.